What's up guys, I'm back with another Destiny 2 build. Today's build is going to be called Fusions Forever, and it is based on Warlocks and their Starfire protocol. But what pushes this build over the edge is going to be the Calus mini tool with a special enhanced perk. With this build, you are going to be able to use fusion grenades to get them back insanely fast. Plus, there's going to be plenty of explosions. Gameplay in the background is going to be Duality Dungeon, so here's the build on some decently challenging content. Real fast before I jump into this build, if you guys find it helpful, please drop a like. It helps my channel out a ton, and maybe even consider subscribing for more Destiny 2 content. With that being said, let's get into it. First off, we're going to the Solar subclass, and the super I'm going to be choosing, of course, is going to be Well of Radiance, just because of the obvious restoration and radiant effect it gives us. Shooting enemies while inside Well of Radiance also can help us get our grenades back a lot faster. Next up, the abilities. First, we're going to have the Empowering Rift. This is because currently, in the Season of the Haunted, we get restoration abilities with the class mod, so there's no point of running Healing Rift. But also, when we do damage inside of our Empowering Rift, we get the grenades back even faster. Like, very, very fast. If you're viewing this after Season of the Haunted, then you can still run Healing Rift, but again, it's not going to help you get your grenade energy back. For the movement ability, I'm going to be running Burst Glide. It's kind of preference, but it just seems like that's the best Warlock jump overall, so that's why I'm running it. For my melee ability, I chose to use the Incinerator Snap. One, because it has a wide range of damage, and two, it's just super fun to use. Maybe it does more damage if you're using the Celestial Fire. Maybe if you're doing harder content, you can run that. But again, I enjoy using the snap, so that's what I'm using here. And of course, for the grenades, we are running fusions. There's no other option. This build is made off of fusions. You're running fusion grenades. Next, we move on to the aspects, and the first aspect we're going to be choosing is going to be Icarus Dash, because it feels like it's impossible not to run this. I mean, you can, but I feel like Icarus Dash is just another thing that's really fun to use, and it also can save your ass if you need it to. I guess Heat Rises might not be a bad call either, just because you can heal yourself from your grenade, but I mean, for the Season of the Haunted, I feel like we don't really need that. Maybe after this season, we can come back and look into that, but for now, we're just going to be running Icarus Dash. The second aspect is going to be Touch of Flame, which changes up our grenade functionality. And for fusions, it makes them explode twice. I have completely wiped out Bellkeepers, Majors, and pretty much melted most champions' health with this effect. The extra damage is actually pretty incredible, and this is a must run. Now we talk about the fragments. We got Ember of Ashes, which just helps us apply scorch stacks on enemies, which lets us do more damage using our grenades, and our Calus mini tool with a special perk that we're going to be talking about a little bit later. Next, we got Ember of Torches, which our powered melee attacks on enemies can make us and our allies radiant, so every time we do damage with the snap, we get a damage buff. And yes, we don't even need to kill them, we just have to do damage. Third fragment is going to be the Ember of Eruption, which our solar ignitions have increased area effect, and this also gives us plus 10 strength to help us get our snapback faster. And then the last fragment we're going with, we're going to be using Ember of Singeing, which makes our class abilities recharge faster when we scorch targets. We should be doing that all the time with our grenades and Calus mini tool. That will help us get Empowering Rift faster. That way we can get grenades back faster. Also, I think I forgot to mention in the beginning of the video, the dim link is down in the description, so if you want to try this build out for yourself and you want to just copy it over to dim, there's a link in the bottom, so go ahead and click that. Also, while you're clicking that, click the like button. Alright, now we're going on to the stats. The stats I usually recommend for this, of course, it's just impossible not to run 100 resilience. You can run anything a little lower, but honestly, just Tier 10 resilience is always going to be the best thing to run. And then of course for this we want to run discipline. So I have 100 discipline stat as well to get my grenade back as fast as possible. 28 seconds, not even counting the other buffs that we can do, is pretty outrageous. And then from there we're going to be moving on to the armor mods. First we're going to go on the helmet. I chose to use a plus 5 discipline mod, which helps me get my grenade regeneration back, and then we're going to be running 2 back-to-back Ashes of Assets mods, which help you gain bonus super energy on grenade kills, which is going to be very important. And then from there, the last one is going to be Elemental Ordnance. Defeating a combatant with a grenade spawns an elemental well that matches your subclass energy type, which again, more grenade regeneration, that's what this whole build is about. And then moving on to the arms, I chose to use a plus 10 strength mod so that way I can get my snapback even faster. I chose to use the overload rounds mod, and for the Season of the Haunted, it is SMGs, which is going to be perfect for our build because our main weapon we're going to be using is going to be an SMG. You can change it if you want, but again, it's all about the SMG, and I would just run overload here. Then you can put on fastball, which increases the grenade throw distance by a huge margin. I would definitely recommend using this. And then from there, we're going to use Font of Might. Picking up an elemental well that matches your subclass energy type grants a temporary bonus to weapon damage of that same elemental type. So we're all going to be running solar energy. We're going to be getting a solar weapon. We're going to be picking up solar wells. It's all going to mix in together. And then from there, we're going to talk about the chest armor, which is going to be the exotic Starfire Protocol. Its perk is going to be Fusion Harness. Fusion grenades have an additional charge and recharge from empowering weapon damage, which you can get from empowering rifts. Fusion grenade kills also grant rift energy. So it's going to be pretty much like a cycle to where that we're going to be able to use our rift. We're going to be able to shoot the enemies, get grenades back, throw the grenades kill, and then we're going to be getting rift energy back. It's a really simple cycle. And for the mods, I'm going to be using a discipline mod. Again, I'm going to be using plus 10 discipline. Then from there, I'm using the current Season of the Haunted Seasonal Armor of the Dying Star mod, which is just going to reduce incoming solar and void damage. Then from there, I put on a arc resist mod, so that way I can be just all well-rounded against resistance. And then last, I put on Seeking Wells, which elemental wells you create will move across the ground towards the enemy players, just kind of making those elemental wells easier to get, maybe so you don't have to go out of your way. Just super easy. And then moving on to the leg armor, I chose to use a plus 10 discipline mod, again for grenade energy. And then I'm going to be using the Absolution mod, which reduces all ability cooldowns each time you pick up an Orb of Power, which you'll see them once in a while. I mean, it's just overall just kind of like a helpful thing to have on. And then I also have Innervation, which kind of does the same thing. It just reduces grenade cooldown specifically every time you pick up an Orb of Power. And then the last mod on the legs is going to be Well of Life. Picking up a solar elemental well grants increased regeneration for a short time. So you're going to be getting a little bit of health on that as well. And that'll kind of help out with the healing factors of you not having an actual healing rift. Again, Season of the Haunted, you get restoration while using that, but normal seasons after that, you probably will not. Speaking of seasonal mod, we're going to be moving on to the Bond now, which has two of them. First, I put a plus 5 strength just to kind of get my Incinerary snapback faster. Then we have Class C Restoration. Activating your solar class abilities grants you restoration. So if you proc your Empowering Rift, it technically heals you as well. So again, there's no point of running a healing rift this season if you're running this build. Past seasons or future seasons, maybe, but we'll run into that when we have to. And then the last one will be Solar Fulmination. Your ignitions do increased damage in an increased radius, which for Fusion Grenade build that explodes twice, we're going to be doing crazy damage output within crazy radius. It's going to be very, very helpful. And with all the subclass abilities and the armor out of the way, we're going to be looking into the weapons. Primary and heavy weapons don't really matter. You can run whatever the hell you want. It's not going to make any difference. The main weapon we're looking at here is going to be the Calus mini tool. If possible, you can get 5 red borders. I would definitely recommend crafting this. The main perks we're going to be looking for is going to be Corkscrew Rifling, Accurized Rounds, and then of course the Unrelenting Enhanced trait, which is rapidly defeating targets, triggers health regeneration. Guardians and powerful combatants count as more than one target, and it improves handling as well. That one's going to be very important for kind of staying alive without too much healing abilities. And then the second one, which is going to be the main perk we want to get on this gun, is going to be Incandescent Enhanced trait. It's going to be defeating a target, spreads a longer lasting scorch to those nearby. More powerful combatants and opposing guardians can cause scorch in a larger radius. So pretty much we're going to be laying fires everywhere with our grenades and incandescent here. Calus Mini Tool is a super good weapon. I have almost 2,800 kills on it already, and I haven't really been using that long. It's well worth going out of your way. If there's any weapon you craft this season, it's definitely that one. So with the cycle of you getting your Empowering Rift from grenade kills and your empowering rift damage, getting you grenades, and of course the Calus mini tool helping you heal and create more fire damage. This is an absolute crazy ad killer. It can melt majors and some champs as well. I would definitely recommend using this. Give it a try on some easy content, and then give it a try on some harder content, maybe like duality or whatever you guys want to run. It could even do really well in Legend Lost sectors as well. Again, just a reminder, the dim link is down in the description. If you found this helpful, please leave a like. It helps out my channel a ton. And consider subscribing. We got a lot of Destiny 2 content on its way. We have tons on the channel right now. And then, of course, there's going to be a bunch of Arc 3.0 builds here in a couple weeks with the new season launching. Hopefully we find out what it's all about here pretty soon. But with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.